This course focuses on the second referee.
Let's take a moment to address just a few of the rule changes for 2018 which primarily impact the R2. The first rule change adds a legal libero replacement to the list of ways to handle an injured or ill player. Now the coach's options include substitution, a legal libero replacement, or to use any remaining timeouts. Bear in mind that if the team uses a legal libero replacement to get the injured or ill player off the court, then when the libero rotates to the front row, the injured or ill player must be ready to replace the libero. If the injured or ill player cannot continue to play, at that time a substitution must be made for the injured or ill player. The second rule change clarifies that once a team is charged with an unnecessary delay, they may not make a substitution request until the next completed rally. For example, if a player is denied substitution due to illegal equipment such as jewelry, the player may not remove the jewelry and then attempt to re-enter the substitution zone during the same dead ball. Nor can the coach request any other substitution until a rally has been completed. They may, however, request any remaining timeouts.
The second referee is the primary communicator with the crew at the scoring table. The R2 should thoroughly brief the scorer, the libero tracker, and the timer. The R2 also gathers information from the scorer to communicate with the coaches and the R1. During the match, the R2 manages the team benches and maintains control over the players and participants not on the court. The R2 also serves as the primary point of contact for the coach. When a team requests a timeout or substitution, the R2 whistles to acknowledge and authorize those requests. The R2 verifies the legality of the substitutions with the scorer, as well as the number of timeouts used by each team. Because the R2 is mobile and close to the team benches, the R2 is also responsible for making sure teams end timeouts promptly. The R2 should also handle any other unexpected game interruptions, such as supervising the removal of water or sweat on the court and facilitating injury timeouts. Lastly, the R2 performs their regular in-play duties of watching the net and center line during play, and checking the alignment of the receiving team at the moment of service. The R2 should be ready to serve and protect the R1 by offering explanations to coaches and supporting their partner unwaveringly. Before the match and at the beginning of each set, it is the R2's responsibility to handle collecting the lineups from the coaches, verifying their legality, and checking the players on the floor against the submitted lineups. When you check the lineups, use the lineup sheets the coaches submitted, and step near the sideline for the team you are checking. If the players are still in a huddle, prompt them verbally to line up. Check their positions, identify the captain on the floor for the R1, and then authorize the libero to enter the court using the authorization to enter signal. Once the lineups have been checked for each team and the teams are ready to play, the R2 should get the ball from the scoring table and roll the ball to the server. Get in position on the side of the receiving team. Keep your shoulders square to the court, turning your head to the court as you need to view the alignment of the receiving team. Make eye contact with the R1 and show the ready signal. When you are acknowledged by the R1, return your focus to the receiving team's alignment. Always keep in mind that a coach may make a request up until the point that the R1 beckons for serve. So keep cognizant of your peripheral vision and keep your ears open for verbal requests. At the conclusion of the rally, the R2 should do their best to move to the side of the team that committed the fault. This dead ball transition is helpful to the R1 because it gives the R1 nonverbal information about what the R2 saw. It may not be convenient or feasible for the R2 to transition on some plays, such as when the R2 has to get out of the way of oncoming players. But for the majority of rallies, it is expected that the R2 transitions to the fault side. This transition also puts you on the correct side of the court to check the receiving team's lineup in the next rally. When the R2 is initiating a call, a transition to the fault side must happen. Once you've transitioned to the fault side, center to your partner. Repeat the R1's signals only after you have finished your transition and are no longer in motion. Don't make your signals while you're moving to the fault side. There's no need to be in a rush to make your signals. Keep a nice, even pace. Your signals can and should be a beat after the R1 signals. When you've finished your signal sequence, scan both benches for requests. Sometimes requests are made quickly. When a coach wants a fast timeout after a rally, or a substitute runs up to the line, acknowledge the request verbally or with eye contact, but finish your signal sequence before beginning to administer the timeout or substitution. Coaches who request timeouts or substitutions but aren't acknowledged tend to feel ignored and impatient. Even if you can't make the signal or blow the whistle at that moment, give the coach some eye contact so they know they are heard, and take care of their request when you're done with your mechanics. Once your requests for interruption are completed and the scorer is ready to continue, re-center yourself to the court. Make eye contact with your R1, give the ready signal, and check the receiving team's alignment. If no request for interruption is made, then the R2 does not need to show a ready signal. Simply make eye contact with your partner. During play, the R2 is responsible for calling net faults, centerline faults, and alignment faults. The R2 must also help determine if a ball crosses the net between the antennas. If the ball contacts the R2's antenna or crosses the net outside the R2's antenna, the R2 should call the fault. When you have to call a fault as an R2, the first thing to do is stop the play by blowing your whistle. If you are not already on the side of the team that committed the fault, then quickly transition to the side of the fault. Doing this gives the R1 and teams valuable information about the call that you have and reduces ambiguity about who committed the fault. Once you are on the fault side of the net, signal the fault. Be sure to signal the fault after you have moved and not while you are moving. If the fault is net contact, signal the player at fault by using the numbering mechanics. Keep your body square to the net and your signals out in front of you for your partner to see. If a coach requests clarification about who committed the fault, you can turn your body to show the coach the number or verbalize the number. The R1 will follow up by awarding the point. The R2 should mimic the point loss of rally signal that the R1 gives. Watch the R2 in this video. She has a lot on her hands both during and after the rally.
So we'll switch the score then. So Sports Performance is now leading 2-1 over Kiva. There's McClendon. Wow, what a shot. Great dig, meanwhile, on the other side. Dug out cleanly. Going the other way. Another bullet. Whistle. And a point.
You know,
during the rally, she positions herself in the best way to be able to judge the flight of the ball when it is near her antenna. The rally ends with the R2 calling a net contact on the team on the right, a substitution on the left, and after all that, she still has the presence of mind to grab the ball and give it back to the serving team. She facilitates the match by transitioning quickly from one task to the next so that the teams can get back to playing. In the remainder of this course covering the second referee, we will discuss what you should focus on as play develops on the court, the best practices for positioning yourself as R2 and for transitioning from one spot to the next, and managing game interruptions. This concludes the first lesson about the second referee. Please mark this lesson complete and continue to the next lesson, What to Watch During Play. Thank you.